Trump unleashed hell against the Iranian dictatorship after Israel attacked a commander in Beirut linked to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. And a few hours later, Tehran launched missiles and drones that put Kuwait and American forces at the center of the crisis. This Thursday, May 28, 2026, Kuwait intercepted a ballistic missile. The United States shot down Iranian drones near the Strait of Hormuz, and Washington began to treat the regime as a direct aggressor, not as a victim of external provocation. Trump gained a political window to tighten sanctions, keep forces on alert, and deny any financial reward to the regime while it threatens its neighbors. What was Tehran trying to prove? Why did Trump get tougher now? How might this pressure affect the next response? I'll tell you all about that in a moment. If you like this kind of straightforward, no-nonsense content, consider subscribing, because here you'll find videos just like this, always straight to the point. The sequence started in the south of Iran, in the Bandar Abbas region, an important area for naval logistics and for the regime's launches. Iranian forces launched attack drones into the air in an area near the Strait of Hormuz, where the American presence was already on alert because of recent provocations. The United States Central Command reported that 5 drones were intercepted and that a 6th launch was prevented from a control point on Iranian soil. The American response did not come as theater, it came as direct military containment with the message that every launch will be observed, tracked, and neutralized. The provocation became more serious when Iran launched a ballistic missile against Kuwait on the night of May 27th. The missile was intercepted by Kuwaiti forces before causing destruction, and there were no immediate reports of deaths or injuries. Even so, the attack opened a political wound in the Gulf. Kuwait was not the main target of the nuclear dispute, was not commanding the Israeli operation in Beirut, and was not leading the attack against Tehran. Even so, it was put in the path of an Iranian missile. That's where the regime's narrative falls apart, because anyone who targets a neighboring nation while talking about negotiation is showing that they want to use fear as the language of diplomacy. Trump now works with concrete facts to support the hardline stance. The White House, for example, can tell Gulf allies that the threat is not abstract because the missile has already been launched. They can tell the shipping market that the risk is not exaggerated because drones have already been shot down. They can tell negotiators that Tehran does not deserve relief while it tests American defenses and threatens a partner nation. Trump's strength lies precisely in this. He doesn't need to accept the artificial rush for an agreement, because the Iranian regime itself has given the reason to increase the pressure. And Israel also moved forward without asking permission in response to Tehran's rhetoric. In Beirut, an Israeli attack hit the southern suburbs of the Lebanese capital, an area known for the presence of Hezbollah. The target, according to Israeli sources, was Ali al-Hussein, linked to a missile network associated with the Imam Hussein division connected to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard. The operation showed that Israel does not intend to wait for a new wave of rockets before taking action. When it identifies a chain of command linked to Iran, it strikes before the threat turns into a launch. The most important detail is that the Islamic Revolutionary Guard does not operate like a regular force. It uses bases, militias, external commanders, propaganda, and maritime routes to project pressure, without taking on the full cost. In the Gulf, it tries to provoke the United States with drones in Lebanon, uses networks linked to Hezbollah against Kuwait, risks a missile launch to show power at the diplomatic table, and tries to maintain the appearance of negotiation. This combination is exactly what Trump and Israel are trying to break, taking away the regime's ability to attack through multiple proxies and then hide behind diplomatic talk. The American response also hit the regime's finances. The United States Department of the Treasury sanctioned the Persian Gulf Strait Authority, a structure created by Iran to try to control fees and the passage of vessels in the region. Washington linked this body to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard and placed the structure on the sanctions list. The message was for ships, banks, insurers, and companies to pay or obey. Tehran's fees could trigger US penalties. Trump didn't just target the missile, he targeted the machine that turns threats into money. This matters because the regime needs cash to sustain the machinery of the dictatorship. The Iranian regime finances internal forces, external allies, propaganda, street security, and armed groups outside its borders. When the United States cuts off the financial lifeline, the pressure hits where political survival is most vulnerable. Tehran can record missile videos, can step on the American flag to fire up its base, can try to project bravery, but without money, the network starts to fail. Militia demands payment, commander demands resources, ships fear sanctions, and companies avoid the risk. Bandar Abbas has become a central piece because it shows that Washington is monitoring the preparations, not just the consequences. Preventing the sixth launch means that the United States was looking at the source of the threat. The attack against Kuwait also affects the Gulf Arab nations. Many governments in the region try to avoid public exposure, but none of them ignore the risk of a cornered and armed regime when Tehran launches a missile against a neighboring nation. Behind the scenes talks change. Regional coordination becomes more urgent. Trump can use this moment to bring partners closer who don't want to appear on the front line, but also don't want to wake up with drones or missiles crossing their skies. In the negotiations, the impact is immediate. Any Iranian proposal now arrives tainted by a series of acts of aggression. The regime wanted time, relief, and maybe money. Washington demands guarantees, a pullback, and verifiable control. After the missile against Kuwait and the drones near Hormuz, it becomes harder to sell the idea that Tehran is ready for a clean exit. Trump can keep the diplomatic door open without lifting the pressure because pressure has become the main tool to force the regime to calculate the cost of each provocation. Iranian propaganda tries to project resilience, but the facts of the last few hours tell a different story. The missile did not amount to a victory in Kuwait. The drones did not break through the American defense. The maritime structure created by Tehran is now in the crosshairs of sanctions. The commander connected to the missile network in Beirut became an Israeli target. The dictatorship tried to open several fronts, but received different responses in each of them. In the sky, interception in Lebanon, targeted attack on finances, diplomatic blockade, distrust. Now the next move should be calibrated more aggressively. The United States tends to maintain surveillance over Bandar Abbas and over launch points in southern Iran. Israel should continue targeting missile-related structures in Lebanon. Kuwait should strengthen air defense and expand consultations with Washington. The Gulf is no longer frightened by these terrorist tactics from the Iranian dictatorship when Tehran launches drones and missiles. They don't get a reward, they get surrounded. I'm Wilson Alves, an international affairs expert, and my purpose is to show you the truth and keep you well informed every day. The news links are in the video description. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and at the end, check out the comments so you can be even more engaged with the community. Wilson Alves.